Hi everyone! I hope that this video finds you well and that you're all staying safe and healthy. So before we begin, I just want to give a little bit of background on my class and the objectives of this lesson. So this would be an ICT class, Integrated Co-Teaching, with 22 students. 5 of them have ADHD and 2 have EBD, Emotional Behavior Disorder. This is a first grade class, and the subject that we will be dealing with, as you can see right here with this PowerPoint, is literacy. So the lesson objectives that we have today are students will be able to demonstrate comprehension by responding orally to the teacher's guiding questions or prompts. And students will be able to demonstrate higher order thinking by responding to a series of questions about characterization. And that will be more the end of the exit ticket of our lesson so that we can make sure that we met those objectives. So we have 2 guiding questions for the lesson. The first one is, how can we tell how a character feels by looking at illustrations? And then the second one is, how can we notice a change in a character's feelings? So those 2 are definitely connected, and I hope that students would pick up on that. So how I would begin this is I put together a PowerPoint. a Google slideshow. I'm going to present it. Let me move myself. Okay, so when I click on this, ideally I would click play right here and the song I Feel Good by James Brown would start playing as my walk-on song. Unfortunately, the Screen-O-Matic is not allowing me to pick up the sound from my computer and my microphone at the same time. So in our heads, we're imagining that I Feel Good is playing, and that is not an irrelevant song choice. It is about feelings, and we are going to be talking about characters' feelings today in our lesson. So that would be the song I would have playing. And then I'm going to exit that just in case my face blocks it. I'm not exactly sure. So I would present to my students today's lesson flow. I would tell them before we read, we're going to do a quick chat, we are going to complete a Padlet, and we are going to use a QR code reader to open up the story that we're going to be working on. Then I let them know that while we read, I will be asking them questions and presenting them with prompts, and I have stopping points that I have already come up with, of course. And then after we read, one student will give us a quick recap, and then their exit ticket will be to complete a Flipgrid or a Google form, and the choice is theirs. So, relating back to our walk-on anthem, I would say we listened to a song titled I Feel Good. Now I want 5 people to tell me other feelings that people can have. I already wrote them in, imagining that these are some of the words that students would tell me. So we're happy, sad, frustrated, angry, delighted. So that's just a little warmer so that students, so that their prior knowledge is activated. Then we are transitioning into our Padlet. So I have given students the option to go ahead and write their answers to any of the questions that we have in our Padlet in their ELA notebook if they're experiencing screen fatigue. So I will click on this. All of the links are already loaded, and it will work the same for students. My Padlet, my supercalifragilisticexpialidocious Padlet, has 4 questions or prompts already here. We have write your definition of what a character is. How can we use pictures to help us figure out how a character is feeling? Write about the difference between characters' feelings and character traits. And how can dialogue help us understand a character? So if students are comfortable answering how can dialogue help us understand a question, they can go ahead and answer that one. That is more challenging than write your definition of what a character is. So we tried to differentiate a little bit with the types of questions, but they're all presented on an equal level, which I think is awesome because students, won't feel as though they're doing an easier question than someone else. And they can leave their comments if they finish early. They can just go ahead and read other students' comments, or they can answer more than one question. The choice totally is theirs. And then after they complete this, I will say, today we are going to be reading a new fiction story called Eric, the Boy Who Lost His Gravity, by author Jenny Desmond, about a young boy who experiences some difficult emotions. And we are going to explore what happens to him when he loses control of those emotions. So, by now, we are done with this. And we are going to be looking at this. I will display, as you can see, I will display the front cover of our story. Students would be asked at this point to take a look at the cover and try to examine any details that they see that might help them make a prediction. So we see a boy who looks like he's standing upside down. He looks pretty angry based on his facial expressions. And it says, Eric, the boy who lost his gravity. So something is keeping him off the ground. So then students will use this QR code to access the story using their desktop reader or their iPads. So students either have laptops provided to them or not desktops actually. They have laptops or iPads provided to them by the school, but no worries, if they're using a laptop, they can still access the QR code using a QR reader or their iPad. So this link will bring them right to our story, and I actually snuck it in here, so because I don't want to complicate using a QR reader while doing this. So this brings us to our story. This is epic. It's something that I use with my kids, and they absolutely love it, and it tracks a reading log for every single one of them. So it's a really great resource in case anyone else wants to use it, and it's free for teachers and students. So now they've used their QR code and they're looking at the same story that I am. So we would go through this, and I will stop at various points. Eric, the boy who lost his gravity. So we're looking at the pages, we're describing what we see on each page. So page 5 and 6 is what is displayed right here. I will say, look at the people on these pages. Describe what they are doing and what emotions you think they are feeling. And I have, come up with answers that would be acceptable to any of my questions or prompts. So I see a family all doing things by themselves. They look happy, and I know this because they're all smiling. And then we look at this picture. Bunny wants to play too, said Alice. Get that bunny off my train, said Eric. Eric, play nicely, please, called his dad. So we notice a shift in emotions and feelings that Eric is experiencing, obviously. And we know that he is now frowning. He's upset. His eyebrows are furrowed. And then, we see a fight continue. I won't read the entire story to you guys just for the sake of time. But I'm asking, have you ever gotten into a fight with your sibling, and how did that make you feel, and whose side did your parents take, and did you feel supported in that moment? As we continue, we're looking at this picture here, we're focusing on facial expressions, so he really does not look happy. And I ask students, what does it look like it's happening right here? And he's being lifted off the ground. We're not really sure why. It says he's so angry that ... So, that allows us to make a prediction right there. He's so angry that what? So he's so angry that he lifted right off the floor. Again, we're focusing on emotions. He looks still very angry. And then on this page, I want students to take a look at the parents on the bottom. So first I ask, which characters do you see down here? They'll tell me that they see the parents. And we say, well, let's look. This is an emergency. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. So there's fighting. So, we can talk about these difficult emotions in the class. Have we ever been the cause of a fight at home? How did that make us feel? Maybe sometimes when people are panicking, they take out that worry on someone that they don't mean to do it. So I like this because it's like social, emotional, and just regular literacy. So we see that he's still on the ceiling, and all of a sudden he's out of the window and into the outside. So he finally got rid of his sister, and he's thinking that it's excellent, and I ask them, to look at the picture, describe what's happening. He's so happy. He's on such a roller coaster of emotions, crashes into the tree, and now he's scared and he misses his family. So we have experienced a ton of different emotions and feelings, and each page students are going to be prompted with a question asking them to describe or tell me how Eric must be feeling and how they know that. So we notice he's upset. He doesn't like being alone anymore. Then he gets rescued by his family. So students, will be asked about how they think that Eric must feel now. He feels safe. He feels supported and comforted. So I think that this is a great read for any kid. It shows them sometimes their emotions are too big for themselves and it gets out of control. And we need to find things to literally ground us, as he's being lifted off the ground. So there, the story just continues a little bit with his sister experiencing those big emotions. But then afterwards, when we finish it, we come back to our PowerPoint. And I will ask for one volunteer to briefly remind us what happened in the story. Even though it's a short, simple story, they are in first grade, and retelling is a skill that they are still learning. So typically they might just say the most recent event that they can remember from the story or what happened in the beginning. So one person to tell us beginning, middle, and end kind of situation. Then afterwards, we have, they can show their learning or their comprehension in two different ways. We have Google Form or Flipgrid, and there's a link connected to both of them. So the form, Eric, the boy who lost his gravity, this could be their exit ticket. It's a 10-point, not a quiz, it's just a check to make sure that they were paying attention. And then at the bottom I have, are there any emotions that you are feeling that you're not comfortable with? If your answer is yes, would you like to talk about it? So I always like to, it's not required, that question, but I always like to leave that as an option for students if they would like to. So this is the quiz I created for it. And then our Flipgrid is right here. And it has the same questions that the Google form did. So I'm still assessing the same thing. I just want students to be able to demonstrate their understanding in different ways. So if they feel like making a video and maybe they're more comfortable opening up to me, if they are talking in a video where, maybe all of their peers might not read it, or no one's going to read it anyway, but maybe they don't feel comfortable typing it. So this is a really good option. And they can have it read to them. And then I say bye-bye, book lovers. See you next time. And I got this template from SlidesGo, so I want to just give credit to SlidesGo for the template. And then we're all finished. And that's that. And I hope that you learned something or found a resource that you could use in your class. And let me know if you have any questions, comments, any criticism. Very open to it. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.